And Daryl, or you haven't heard anybody coming in late? But we're 4, so we're good. Okay. Yeah, we'll work on that. All right, it's 6:06. We'll start the June 27th, the July 25th regular meeting of the Kennesaw Economic Development Board. Roll call. We are missing Jared. Tyson and Daryl. Item 2, work session. Use of EDC property, create food truck destination at Link Street and Kennedale Parkway. That's the last. Am I reading the wrong one? Sorry. No, we don't got them. Discussion of our 24 budget.
Yeah, I just wanted to come back to the board again. One, to get some feedback and what you want to accomplish in this coming year for the 24-25, I'm sorry, for the 23-24 budget. So if there's line items that you have an interest in that you want me to make sure I get into the line items, I need some feedback from you guys to know exactly what that is. As you can tell, we have the Veterans Memorial. We also have 9/11 Memorial that's here in the Town Center Plaza, which ultimately belongs to the EDC. So the funding will come from EDC, not necessarily the city as a whole. We also have the Town Center properties and the remodel concept of the Town Center. As I've brought to you before in the past, we're talking about landscaping, the remodel of the chamber building, which is in dire need of some help. So these are items that you'll be seeing as we move forward for the budget. I've started the process of getting not a contract, I just look like bids for the Chamber of Commerce, the landscaping. The landscaping is roughly going to be about $5,000 to $6,000 for the landscaping just for the chamber building. So it's not the same as dealing with the Town Center itself. So we have some numbers that's starting to come in. Same thing for the memorial fountain. I've received 2 bids. One of them's a little over 100,000. The other one's a little bit under 50,000. So there's a huge spread between the two. I have a third one that I should be receiving at any time. From my understanding, that one's going to be around the 50,000 mark too. So I'm not sure where the 100,000 came in at. So there's some numbers finally coming through. One of the things that I was looking at for the Veterans Memorial, I want to get that accomplished this year out of this budget. However, it's not a budgeted item. Those pretty much a very clean slate of this budget other than the Christmas event. And we had a couple of grant opportunities for food trucks or any business that was wanting to come in and be able to go through that grant process. Other than that, if I can get some feedback from you guys of what you're looking for, what you're wanting, add or delete, put more effort in, anything like that. So if you have some feedback, now's the time.
So on the possibility of business grant opportunities, if they show up and if they meet qualifications, are we going to need a fixed amount to add to this budget? Or are we going to have a level that we don't cross? Say if we put in, we're going to allow for whether we use it or not, 200,000 or 100,000 or is.
That's correct. And we can go by the amount, or if we want to indicate we're going to help 4 businesses and we're going to have a max of 25,000 or a max of 50,000, whatever that max is, we can set that and we can make sure we have it budgeted this year Other than that, every time I have something, particularly this year, I'm having to bring forward and let you guys know, hey, we have this opportunity, or it's not funded. We have finance come in and indicate we do have funding. We're able to budget for that. So that's what I'm trying to prevent as we go into the next year. Obviously, I have a little bit more time under my belt, a little bit more experience on what we're trying to accomplish on the EDC side. So that's just some of the things I want to make sure I'm not leaving you guys out on what you want me to accomplish on the EDC side of what you're wanting. The ones I just identified are the things that we're seeing as we're moving forward. The chamber building, it needs remodeling, particularly on the outside. The memorial, the 9/11, the town center. We've been dealing with contracts with them. And I'll use Antique Mall, for example. So Antique Mall needs some remodeling inside. The lighting inside is in dire need of being replaced. So we're looking at that, and that's roughly about a $17,000 tag to put new lighting in the building. Antique Mall, they're ready to sign a new lease, which our discussion was to make it where all of town center leases end at the same time. So we've been able to accomplish that as well. So whenever the electric company leases up, so is the Antique Mall. Same thing for Dollar General. We're still in negotiations with Dollar General as far as a lease. We are looking at a 1-year lease for them, and then we're done with the concept that they're going to build a new building. And that discussion is still ongoing, and it's looking very promising on that.
Will there be a discussion on all the bids that you're receiving so that we'll know as a board what's entailed in each of those bids?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We've got quite a few things to put in the budget. Is there any of them that if your budget gets too tight, they can be pushed to the next year?
Well, and that's the process of putting the budget
Okay.
together. So obviously, have John with finance. He'll be able to tell us what we can do, what we can't do, and make sure, one, we don't exceed that budget line item that you approve as we move forward.
Mr. City Manager, couple questions. First, with the small business grant opportunities, what's kind of the criteria that we would be looking for to extend a grant?
Generally speaking, if they're coming in and wanting to do a remodel for say, and I'm going to use Carmen's, for example, for him, and he's been given the same opportunity to be able to come in and I think right now we have a $25,000 grant. So what he needs to do, one, apply for the grant, which he hasn't done yet. And then he'll go out and perform the work. So whatever work he's wanting to accomplish, he has to do first. Then we'll reimburse up to that $25,000. So it could be a remodel, it could be equipment, and then any type of equipment that's going to be for that building or for his business. So it's not just, one or two different things. It's wide open. It's just they'll bring it back to the EDC board for approval.
And how many businesses do we anticipate we might be able to assist with these grant opportunities?
I feel if we're standing at the 25,000, I think we got a good chance of having to be able to help several. And once again, that's the reason why we got John here, to be able to help us come up to a financial number that we can do. We don't even have to stay at 25 if we want to say do two of them 50,000 a piece. We do have cash that's available to do these type of grants, and we'll be able to have that discussion as we move forward.
Will that be an annual budget item as well, part of the Kennedale budget, finance budget?
As long as the financials are staying healthy, absolutely, we will encourage it as we move forward. Obviously, if the budget's not able to sustain that type of payment, we can decrease it or maybe have not as many opportunities. Right now, I think we have the opportunity to do several.
And just another thing in terms of, construction repairs in the town center, remodel on the Chamber of Commerce. I'm just going to throw this out there. Is there any thought to, instead of maybe just repairing it, maybe doing some big overhauls to maybe, I don't even know, construct a new facade, make it more user-friendly, i.e. easier to get to, more welcoming, easier to park and things of that nature?
I think any opportunity for more parking that's a bonus. My way of looking at it, if we do need parking. We have businesses that are surrounding that doesn't have enough parking. Only way to improve that is just demolish the building and put parking there. Other than that, I'm not sure what a remodel, even putting a facade on it, really is going to do. Unless
Level some buildings and start over.
That is a great possibility in 5 years. So in 5 years, that opportunity will be very to this board to make that decision. But that's the reason why Antique Mall and the electric company, their contracts will end at the same time.
Thank you.
But Dollar General seems to want to build a new building.
They want to build it inside of town center.
Yeah, it'll be right next to it. So the open field that's between the PD and their current location will be that location for it.
Future plans.
No.
Yeah, that lot was specifically built for another business to come into.
So what would happen with the old Dollar General building?
It could be new parking area. I think it opens a lot of doors for us once we're able to truly control that building. As you can tell, when we're talking about the Antique Mall needing new lighting, that's that whole strip center. It's in dire need of a lot of improvements. And at what point do we stop and not investing into something that honestly our return is very limited. It's very short and we're not going to get our return on it.
So,
in my opinion.
With that Antique Mall, you said 15,000 for new lights. Is that including a total rewire? Because apparently it sounds like to me that that's including a rewire or something to bring it up to current codes as far as wiring.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It'll go into LED lighting. Yes.
Okay.
That was one of the things that Antique Mall was looking at was poor lighting. So what we approached them, I would say roughly 6 months ago for the contract negotiations, that was one of the things that their need is the lighting. So we agreed in the sense for the lighting and for the lease to be a certain price. And it's roughly about $1,000 or $1 a foot, which is extremely cheap.
Any other questions on our work session items? Will you go ahead and hear from on the finance?
Sounds good. John, impress us.
Well, I was just here to support Daryl, but just one thing to point out, and Daryl did touch on it briefly, but there is a cash reserve in the EDC fund that typically when budgeting, we're trying to do a break-even budget, but through great financial stewardship for this committee and prior iterations of it, there is a cash balance that's available in there. If a parking lot does need to be made, for example, emergency parking lot situation, something along those lines, there's cash to support it. So it's just something to keep in mind as we talk about some of these larger capital expenditures that we don't necessarily have to break even for the year as far as I'm concerned. Now, I don't make decisions, so that's up to the board and the council, but Mathematically speaking, the option is available. I did leave a packet for each of you. We have a page. I guess that's more of like a pink. This is part of the council's financial package that comes every month. The other is just a balance sheet and income statement that has the value, the book value of property that the EDC holds. And then our Kennedale Green page is a budget template that'll be part of the budget book for the city. If you have any questions on those that are general in nature, I'm happy to answer those. I can't dig down too much on details on transactions. So we'd be going off my memory, and that doesn't always work at the best.
Do you have an idea how much is in the fund reserve, the cash reserve account? Maybe right here in front of me.
I mean, we're looking to have just a little bit over 2 million at the end of the year. If everything pans out the way I'm predicting.
That's actual.
Getting fund balance right there, the October 1st. That's the line item you're looking at.
It's in two places on your, which we hold up the page you're looking at. I just want to guide you to the right spot. This,
Yeah, that's the one.
yes, sir.
Getting fund balance over 1st.
That is, and this is through May. We haven't closed June yet. We're working on a faster turnaround, and we are going to be there soon, but this is May's numbers. We are in July, just something to keep in mind. On the green sheet, the predictions have June's actuals plus me pushing out through the remainder of the year. Couple highlights. Our investment income is drastically over budget. I didn't have anything to do with it directly, but it's something I'm still proud of. Everything else is tracking pretty much as expected.
And so the fund balance, if need be, that could be used for these business grant opportunities. I know there's contingencies on what the money can be used for.
At the discretion of you as a member of this commission and as of a council member.
Gotcha.
Yes. That's why I say mathematically it's possible, but ultimately it's not my decision to make.
Sure. I just didn't know if there were any particular restrictions on, okay.
The grant would be in my opinion, would be a good use. And it is an approved use of EDC funds.
Absolutely.
But we don't necessarily have a $2 million cash value.
We have
Is that-
the fund has that in the fund, but as far
Right.
as like cash on hand.
So is there like an application process out there for businesses that
There are.
they're aware of?
Yes and no. So we have a current application. I'm in the middle of writing that application where it's a little bit more geared towards us and what we're trying to accomplish out of it. The other one was very vague and just had basic information. It didn't even ask for what type of work are you looking at? Are you remodeling? Are you adding equipment? It didn't have any of that. It was very vague and just saying, hey, I want 25 grand. And it was pretty much kept like that with no detail of a business plan or of any sort. Where now I'm going to have a business plan that's included into that application of saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm asking in return.
Any more questions for me?
Nope. I think we're good.
All right. I appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of you guys tonight.
All right, thank you. Okay, item 3, regular session, reports and announcements.
Can I back up just a second?
Yes, sir.
If I can, if y'all have any suggestions, can you share them with me? That way,
Oh, for the-
once we go from here, me and John can sit down and really truly find out exactly what kind of funding we can offer for that. And if there's anything you're wanting me to look at on our Christmas event or the town center plaza, because it is EDC. So if there's something that you're particularly looking for, let me know what it is, because then now's the time for me to make sure I get in the budget.
Could I just say, I'm obviously hadn't been on this board for very long, but I love the idea of the business grant opportunities. And I would suggest or advise to proceed with that. And, in terms of the food truck idea, I really like the idea. And just, in terms of the Christmas event, just, I know you mentioned a couple of things like the nativity at the last meeting, but I think, personally, and I can't speak for everybody, but the more we can do like that to draw people in, I think it's a win-win for everybody. And I would just say proceed as planned.
Awesome. Thank you.
Now, have we finalized a decision on whether it would be a nativity or any other things such as a Charlie Brown Christmas or Mickey Mouse Christmas or? Because it's for the children, right?
Absolutely. So we had a meeting 2 weeks ago in reference to the Christmas event as a whole. So the sales rep that I was dealing with for supplying this equipment, lighting, nativity scene, things like that, he had a heart attack. So I'm with a new sales rep. So I should have a new quote that's coming in Friday. Until I get that, I need to make sure the funding, because right now I only have 47,000 left.
Okay.
So I need to make sure that I can stay within the budget that you guys supplied me.
Okay.
Once we do that, it'll open it up to a little bit more. But the nativity scene is going to it will be a priority other than the lighting.
But what I'm saying, is it going to be just a definite nativity scene, or will we go with another theme, another Christmas theme?
My priority is for the nativity scene for first and foremost. My idea is basically after we have our Christmas tree lighting, that next day we'll set up the nativity scene. It'll be on the pavilion, and we'll basically fence it off where it's only visible. You can't go up and be a part of it. So we're actually going to highlight that scene.
Now, I'm not against nativity, but we do have a multicultural city here. And I just am concerned that we represent as many people as possible with this thing that will be participating and will be contributing their tax dollars to the situation.
Absolutely. It's for everybody. It's not for just one. It's for everybody to go and see and look at whatever they wish to do. It'll be on display for everybody to look at.
On the Veterans Memorial remodel. I know Daryl mentioned it, that of getting with some veterans groups to see if they would help, not necessarily do the work, but maybe kick in a little funding and then put their name on a plaque on it.
Absolutely. And that's still the plan to do so. What I'm looking at on the fountain itself is be able to fund it for us. I like for the veterans to come in and be a part of the display of their names that we have out there now. We would like to change that as well. And I like to have the input from our veterans. And we have one here tonight as well. And he's absolutely wants to be involved in that process. And we'll invite all veterans to come in and see what their idea, what that can be. But the fountain itself will always, in a sense, be a fountain. It's going to represent not only our veterans, but the city as a whole, that's representing our desire to lift our veterans up. But we're not leaving them out by any means.
Good. And on the the town center properties remodeling, that comes out, that eventually will come out of rent one way or the other. We collect the rent, we use the money to repair the building. Chamber of Commerce repairs, that's a different matter. What we were talking about remodeling and construction repairs and that, and at one time we talked about just the bare, what it takes to fix the exterior facade to make it back up, to keep it from falling apart. Are we still on that, or have we decided to do a little extra to it?
No, I just want to get the image of the building where it needs to be.
Just
So
the exterior facade to make it
for
look.
now, absolutely.
yeah.
But the doors are in dire need as well. I mean, you can literally look through some of the doors. I mean, straight through the doors. I was in there today. Some of the flooring is vinyl flooring and it's starting to ripple. So it's got, I don't
From the
know.
water damage?
I'm assuming it's from water or something that's created where the vinyl is lifted. So it's kind of like I don't know what it's called, where it's just lifted off the ground. Off
Well,
the
that's
floor.
probably letting go of the subfloor.
Those things need to be fixed.
Okay, that makes.
It doesn't matter for.
That's a safety hazard in a way.
Mhm. It doesn't matter if we keep it as a chamber building, an empty building, or we rent it out to the office. Whatever it is, those items need to be fixed. For a positive image of our city. Especially with it being a focal point.
But we're still working on that estimates too.
Yeah.
Any other ideas for the city manager?
I was wondering, as part of the food truck ones, are you doing the barbecue truck that's already here on New Hope?
Are you talking about on the Parkway?
Yes.
He is the one 225. He's not on the Parkway currently, but he's the one that has an interest in going to that property. We do have 3D barbecue as well, which is down here on the property at Bowman Springs and Kennedale Parkway. He really doesn't have an interest in moving there. He's leasing that property from another guy that lives here within our city.
Okay. And I noticed one on New Hope and the Parkway. There's been a trailer there the last couple of weekends
Mhm.
by the new Elmas.
Right.
Is that probably going to move or?
That's the snow cone. And some of these guys have built relationships with these other business owners. Whenever you start talking about our UDC codes. So that's one of the things these established businesses are able to do for these food trucks is to give them that same capability to make sure they pass code. So that's the reason why a lot of times you'll see these food trucks at other like convenience stores or other establishments that have restrooms, water, sewer, electrical. That's the reason why you see them there.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be getting back to all these. The budget and the business opportunities and the construction repairs. This is just to give the city manager as much information as we can provide and ideals for him.
And currently, I think the 25,000 is pretty consistent across the board for particularly what we currently have. Sometimes if you get larger corporations coming in, they're needing a lot more funding than probably what our EDC can afford. But I think this is a great opportunity for small businesses that's wanting to come in and really need a start. And this helps a lot of times get that equipment. Some of the cooking equipment they need is outrageous, and this definitely helps in that manner.
Yep. That we can help small businesses as much as possible. I know at one time it was a percentage of how much they spent maxed at 25,000. But I like, if they spend $100,000, I think the 25,000 is fair. I mean, a percentage was hard to do now like it was. So that's a good number to stick with. As long as somebody's willing to, spend that much money, update it and bring in more business and help the town out. Because it brings in more tax, the more money they make, the more taxes they'll collect. Or if it's a larger business, possibility of adding an employee.
I've talked with Christian a couple times at Carmen's there, and he's kind of showed me his vision of putting the patio and everything out there. And I mean, the food's awesome. And I know he's already successful because he's got a restaurant down, I think, Waxahachie or Midlothian. And, I think it's a fantastic idea.
I got paint.
It won't last long in the heat around here anyway, so we'll just keep painting it. All right, do you think we've covered as much as we can for this meeting? All right, regular session reports and announcements. Do we have any reports from board of directors? Any reports from the city? All right. Visitors and citizen forum. We have a visitor. Mrs. Sargent, would you like to come to the podium over here? And you'll have to figure out how to turn that microphone on, ma'am.
Hello?
That'll work.
Yes. Yes, right. I have 3 questions, okay. First of all, I want to thank this gentleman here that's given us clarity on the grants. Thank you, sir. And I'm Tamiko Sargent, 905 Shady Oaks Drive, Kennedale, Texas, 76060. The first question is, where should an individual go to pick up that application for a grant? When is the deadline to have those grants information in? Second of all, on the memorial for the veterans, I didn't have clarity on that. Are we going to allow outside veterans to come in and you guys display? I see that they have the bricks. Are they going to be able to display other individuals? Because my husband and my son both are veterans, Air Force and Army. So I know I'm a resident here, so I'm trying to find out exactly what is the policy and procedure for getting them a place up there is what I'm trying to find out. And then the third thing is I'm listening to each individual here discussing the process of bidding on different jobs. I know some gentlemen in the Black Chamber of Commerce that have different businesses and so forth. How do they go by? I'm sure they know, but I am trying to get clarity on that myself, on the different projects that I see that's going on here in Kennedale. How can I let them know that Kennedale is doing some different things and they can get their bids in? Myself is not familiar, but my dad had his own construction company and he did do bidding on different things there in our hometown, Corsicana. He was up here at Plano and surrounding areas. So I need to try to find out those 3 things and give me a little clarity, or should I come back at another time to find out? But I will be, trying to seek that information because as far as the grants are concerned, that is a deep concern for myself. So maybe you guys can give me more information on that, please.
Okay, I can do that. That's one of y'all want to. Uh, First, if you want to come see me sometime this week or next week, you can, Ms. Sargent. But the process is obviously is just an application. We will detail exactly what the expectation is on your side of it. And I'll use your trailer, for example. So you're having improvement done to your land. This grant opportunity can be that. What you would do is go and have the work performed, have it completed, keep your receipts, keep everything, the cost. Then you can submit that with the application. With that application, obviously you'll have a business plan, what you're trying to accomplish. We'll bring it back to the EDC for approval. It's pretty simple. It's not complicated by any means. It's a simple, right now it's 3 pages and it's just detailing exactly what you're wanting to accomplish. Dealing with the bidding process for government jobs, we do go out for bid on some items we do not. If it's a special, I just went blank. A special service, we don't necessarily have to go to bid for that. And it's generally, for instance, like there's only one person can build a pool. We don't have to go out and advertise for that. Or if the bid is over 50,000, then we have to go to bid. So then we have to go out and advertise it. We have to seek out other opportunities. Generally speaking, that's limited also. Mainly but due to the state and local governments, as in Kennedale, more importantly, like Fort Worth and Tarrant County, they go out and do this annually. So every year they go and seek out bids for different services. And a lot of times, smaller agencies, smaller cities like ourselves, we can piggyback off of their bid process, and the state allows that to happen. So a lot of times we don't necessarily go out and seek out bids. It's because we're able to piggyback off of larger agencies that spend the money to get that bidding process done. And I know I'm missing one of your other question.
On the
The
veterans,
veterans.
he's going to have a meeting and he'll announce the date on that meeting, and that's when.
Well, I think she's talking about on your side of it. So if you want your husband and son to be on there, currently it's $100 for that brick. The idea as we move forward, when we get the veterans involved and we get the fountain in place, we like to have a fundraiser to remodel how those plaques are put up, and hopefully we'll have the funding and we don't have to charge anybody for that brick or their plaque. That's the idea as we moving forward and we get that set, that nobody, a family member, nobody has to spend $100 for a plaque. We're going to hopefully have the funding to be able to do that. Sure.
On those, the other flip side of that, you have a lot of minorities and the Latino who has served. For myself, I know the Tuskegee Airmen, they were a part of our military. Are we referring to having a display of sort of different individuals, or it's just Kennedale, or are we just saying overall?
Currently, it's identified for residents or family of whoever they're wanting to represent. Ideally, I think it should be open to anyone that is served as a whole.
Okay, thank you.
And also, I didn't mean to leave out John. John is a veteran as well, so please accept my apology for that.
All right, thank you very much. All right, items for individual consideration, approval of minutes from June 27th regular meeting. Yep.
I move that we approve the minutes from the June 27th, 2023 regular meeting.
And I second the motion.
All in favor? Unanimous? All right, do we need an executive session, sir? Okay. Any other things we need to take care of? All right. We motion to adjourn. Everybody in favor? Everybody unanimous. Let's go home. Thank y'all for showing up.